Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash, that one of the apostles and else great millstone for teaching us his truth, peace, and blessings to the whole collective of Israel and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Hebrew, by Hashem means the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the unbegotten Son. Background lesson, and today you're going to dive into the situation at hand, dealing with the wildfires that are taking place over there in Canada, and ultimately the main point is going to be that smoke that's spreading and ultimately carrying over to certain parts in America, which I believe will spread even more to other locations. And also to add on that point, got another article here. So MLB postpones Yankees-White Sox game over Canadian wildfire smoke concerns. And this also goes to show that the mirth, the enjoyment is ceasing. It's coming to an end. And ultimately, the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Shai, is showing us that we're nearing the end of this devil's kingdom. As you are seeing the plagues, the pestilence, the judgments that are going out, that the Lord is sending out upon this place. I mean, look recently. A few days ago, you had the blood moon take place, and now you're seeing the sky literally be turned, red. Judgments from the Lord. And you even have brothers that's over there in the locations recording the situation themselves. But I do want to dive into the articles first and get a few videos just to go a little more into the situation, because you had all the fires pretty much kick off at the same time. So obviously Esau Edom has his hand in this, but ultimately, let's see all with this real quick, and then we'll just dive a little bit more into that. And it says June 7th, 2023, Canada wildfire smoke and U.S. air quality news, which I believe is in the worst quality it can be as we speak. Now it says around 75 million people across Midwest, Northeast, and Southeast parts of the U.S. are under air quality alerts, which I believe New York is in the red, which you can see. I'm about to get a few videos. This goes to show how bad it really is, man. That's why we also, got to pray for the brothers that's over there in those areas, because it's bad, especially with all the which we'll dive a little more into. I don't want to, say anything too, what's I'm looking for, to get my video taken down, but try speaking cold a little bit. You know how Esau Edom is, but it says, as wildfire smoke originating from Canada shrouds major U.S. cities, especially all that crap that you're breathing in, which I was going to say chemicals, because you're about to see in the video I'm about to get. They'll dive a little more into the situation, because this is obviously abnormal, and no coincidence that all these fires kicked off at the same time, which we'll get a video down to that point. Now, it said the smoke has been widespread alerts include cities such as New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., Charlotte, Detroit, and Indianapolis. So, seeing the locations that has been spread to, and I believe it will be, what's I'm looking for, carry over to others also. So, reads Lifebury here. The dangerous conditions will linger according to forecasts. By Thursday morning, Delaware, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and the nation's capital could see some of the worst air quality. You can check the air quality here. It's going to show you an example there. So more than 9 million acres have been charred by wildfires in Canada so far this year, about 15 times the normal burned area for this point in the year. Now, let's play a quick video from the brothers.
Right now, we're in some real end of the world part 2. Oh, wow. This is looking like a real ride. So, buckle up, folks. Buckle the hell up. Damn. Where are we going, into the eye of the storm? Shit looking like a damn. Oh, and it's turning reddish, pinkish, reddish. Look at this.
And which I believe now it's even worse than this. Like I said, you have a few other brothers, experiencing this.
Yeah, so the clouds is crazy out here, man. I'm in my car with the AC. I'm in New Jersey. Canada got a...
Like I said, I was looking at a few examples, but let's get these quick videos I have, just to go into how bad it is, as well as this may not be a so-called wildfire as Esau makes it out to be. Sure, there may actually be a wildfire there, but Esau Edom has his hand in this. So you're about to see this right here.
Guys, I couldn't get this picture with my phone camera, but I have a huge camera lens, okay? A 500M, and basically I want to show you guys. My battery's dying, but hopefully I can get... Okay, so there's the first picture I took. So then I took the exposure out, okay? And you see this ring around the sun here? That's what you call chemicals, okay? That is not a normal color. That is not from just a wood fire. So I want you to think about things like this, okay? wood fire, but everything that's in the ground, you have oil in the ground, you got gases in the ground, you got chemicals, you got metals in the ground. So everything that's burning, the ground is also burning along with that, which is causing that chemical to go up in the air. And guess what? What goes up will come down. And there are these little...
Which I watched the Elder Brothers lesson. You know, he made a live lesson after that first video we played. You know, he was saying how the rain was pretty much being turned white. You know, brother said how it looked like hell at first, but then, you know, found out it was rain and it looked like it was white. Now he's mentioned in his video right here, you know, surrounding the sun, it pretty much, you know, looks like chemicals. It's in the sky.
Tiny particles, okay, that you can't see. You can only see these things through a microscope, okay? And there's little particles that are in the air right now that you're breathing. As long as you stay out there, those things are going into your lungs. And these
and Esau Edom may use this right here, because the brother also brought a point in his lesson, you know, to push out, you know, a certain something that you may have to take, you know, for you to be so-called better. You know, you know how this devil operates, man. Order out of chaos, causes all these problems, all this commotion, to then swoop in as a so-called hero with the solution. Because you will have, you know, probably many people, you know, suffer from this, which we have to see exactly how this plays out. You know, because going back to over there in New York, you can see just how bad it is, man. If y'all seen the movie, I forgot the exact name of it. Dang it, what was it? Basically, that one movie, pretty much, you know, it's like an orange sky in the movie. I forgot the exact title of it. I think it's Edge Runner. Back to but believe it was Edge Runner. You know, you can see just, you know, a similar, you know, tint in the sky as we see now. You know, I was trying to remember that movie, but finish off this right here.
kind of particles, guess what? They stick. They stick like glue to your lung cavities. They stick to your inside of your body. You need to be extremely careful right now. Do not go outside. If you don't have to go out, don't do it. You know, even I'm telling you, don't. Like, I'm not even gonna go out there. Okay? I took a few pictures after seeing what this sun looks like right now in my professional
and
camera.
Hey, look at that.
I took.
You can see just how red it is, and that's going to go into how we would see, you know, signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. You know, these signs in the heavens, as you've been seeing more chariot sightings. You've been seeing that blood moon that took place a couple of days ago. Now you're seeing this deep shade of red tint, you know, in the sun. You know, because these devils could also probably be doing this just to cover the sky, also. You know.
A few pictures after seeing what this sun looks like right now in my.
But I have a few other videos I do want to play just to, you know, get these out the way, because this is big news also.
All of southeast Quebec.
As you know, Esau Edom is a liar. He's not going to tell you the full truth. You know, going back to Psalm 55 and 21, Psalm 58 and 3, how this devil is a natural born liar. Especially going back to the book of Ecclesiastes, never trust thine enemy. You know, pretty much planted a seed to where, you know, when people, you come to look at these things, they're, oh, it's just a wildfire. You know?
Just caught on fire, guys. All of it. Insane. Insane.
And you see all those little, you know, clouds popping up.
Look at that.
And listen, that just doesn't happen by chance. You know, all of them kickstarting at the same time.
Whole thing. All at once. Today. And this is on top of Nova Scotia, New Jersey, and the entire western side of Canada burning.
So at least someone had a good comment I wanted to look at, which I think was another one. But you see, people are starting to see through Esau Edom. So everyone knows it's our government that all at once parts is concerning. So a lot of people are starting to wake up to the fact that the government is not really all, you know, hugs and kisses. You know, not all good. So yeah, there's no doubt the government, they need to drive everyone in their smart cities. You also see with the Tesla, I believe it has a little, an app where you can pretty much filter the air. And it's right here also. But people are going to say this is a technique that they use in order to stop fires, this and that. But they keep believing that. So people that believe this is a backfire are, juiced 3 to 4 times. So I see everyone's a wildfire expert here. Nice, congrats to the ones who know what's going on here, lol. But of course you're gonna have people, saying it's, as you mentioned here, backfire, which they'll purposely, pre-place, fires so it doesn't go past that, this and that, but keep believing that. Because you even have, these devils have satellites, which is a picture that came out a while back, where you see pretty much a beam of light, come down and pretty much where that fire kicks off and started that, man. So they have satellites that actually can do that, man. And this right here is a before and after of, New York. Now, the time-lapse video shows New York City skyline blanketed in orange haze. And it's like I'm getting tons of videos, but a lot of it will help push the point across. Look at that. And that's why I was mentioning, that movie Edge Runner. Because you can see, a scene in the movie where pretty much the sky is just clouded with all that, Poison, and you got that right. And ultimately using the wildfire as a forefront, ultimately in order to, push chemicals, whatever the case may be. We know Esau Edom is a devil, and he's not to be trusted.
Northeast, up here.
And this was one of the comments I was wanting to, bring up too. If I can find it. Smoke is keeping bees docile at the peak of the pollination season, messing with the food supply indirectly. Like I was mentioning, Esau Edom, what's in for sure has his hand in this. You don't just see all these fires kickstart just out of nowhere.
In Quebec, all of Quebec just caught on fire all at once on a clear day. I would say this would be some kind of terrorism of some kind, or an...
I just want to get that point across, because Esau Edom's at work, man.
Yo, what the fuck going on with the sun? This is what y'all mean when y'all be like Mercury and Gatorade or some shit? This...
Now you have Jake bugging out. And that's why the scripture going to Isaiah 33:6, how wisdom and knowledge shall be a stability of thy time. So just keep it sane and stable, man. Because once again, this is ultimately the work of the Heavenly Father. And going to show we're heading some very evil and scary times, man. As you're seeing the plagues, the pestilence, the judgment Lord's bringing out, especially using these devils to do these things.
This is some other shit, you heard?
And going back to the second video we played, the guy was mentioning how the chemicals, pretty much, covering the sun and all that. And just go to show this is not a normal so-called wildfire, that just kickstarted out of nowhere,
You heard? Yo, what the fuck going on with this?
Another example.
A lot of y'all have been receiving alerts about the toxic air quality and smoke in the sky. This is because of wildfires sweeping across Canada and even parts of the US.
Nearly 71 wildfires, man.
And as a result, many cities have had darkened or blacked out skies. And when things like this happen, y'all already know that theories and speculation start up immediately. While there's no doubt that the smoke was caused by the fires, there's a theory circulating that the fires themselves were not random or natural, but were intentionally caused for the purpose of blocking out the sun. Some people believe that while the sky was covered, signs of the end times were being shown in the sun and in the moon, while others speculated that they were trying to cover up a solar flare or planet Nibiru. A lot of y'all...
And just, cut out that last part, because that's a bugged out doctrine a lot of these guys are on, especially dealing with Jake, man. That planet Nibiru crap. But read a little bit of article right here, then we'll dive into the scriptures. Those are really the last two bits right here. Was MLB officials had postponed Wednesday night's game between the New York Yankees and Chicago White Sox over air quality concerns following the blanket of the smoke, or of smoke that has impacted the northeastern part of the country as a result of ongoing wildfires in Canada. Ultimately, that's all we need from this article. Wanted to bring this up because this goes to show that the enjoyment of this place, the mirth, is ceasing. It is coming to an end. People are not able to do things as they once used to do, and things will only continue to pick up and get even worse. And all these devils may be doing is also to keep people inside, and you also know why, or how Esau Edom does these things. He'll send out a distraction to keep you occupied in other things while he's doing something right under your nose. He's done this many times. But let's jump to the scriptures. Don't stall listen too long since I played all those videos. But Ecclesiastes 39:28 through 31. And once again, these are judgments from the Lord. And once again, as I mentioned earlier, Yahweh is showing us the times that we are in. Also mentioning 2 9:1, measures all the time diligently. In itself, how do we measure the times that we are in? By the way of these signs and these prophecies, man. Now, there be spirits that are crave for vengeance, which in their freely on sore strokes, in the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Verse 29, fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. And sure, there may be actual wildfires, but once again, Esau even for sure has his hand in this and maybe using that as a forefront to do other things, to push out chemicals and all that, as if he doesn't do that already. Verse 30, the teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punished the wicked through destruction. The Lord also used these animals as a form of judgment. Verse 31, they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is, and when the time is come, they shall not transgress his word. So it's going to accomplish which the Lord sent out to do. Now there's another good scripture right here. This one is heat. Now it says, thou shalt be visited of Yahweh Bashmashav, host with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, dealing with all these storms. Now it says, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Once again, showing this is the work of the Heavenly Father. Though he may be using Esau, Edom to do certain things, it's still the work of the Lord. Putting the spirit on them to do these things. Now, Matthew 24 and 3 through 8. Because as I mentioned earlier, you have Esau has this satellite that can shoot these things down, these laser beams. Which they show you in movies. It's a bunch of predictive programming. Devil's putting it right in front of your face, man. Which I see if I can find a picture of it. This one right here. Let's get that image out the way, or that example I was wanting to bring out. And of course, you're gonna have damage control and all that. All these images were captured during wildfire in California as evidence that powerful lasers were used to cause these fires. And of course, they're gonna say false. Esau, Edom, Matthew 24 and 3 to 8. Now it says, as he sat upon the mount, all his disciples came up to him privately, saying, tell us when these things be, and what shall be signs of thy coming of the end of the world. Now it's going to list off those signs that we would see and that would take place before our Lord Yahweh will return. Verse 4, and Yahweh answered and said to them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I'm anointed, and shall deceive many false prophets, which you especially see a lot now. That's why you'd be wary and careful of who you are listening to, man. Because a lot of these guys are really trying to keep you here, man. Not really trying to prepare Jake for what's to come. And ultimately, a lot of these guys sold out, man, and want to stay here. But that's why it says, for many shall come my name, saying, I'm anointed, and shall deceive many. Verse 6, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, seeing the consistent tension between the nations and how it's only continue to rise, which ultimately will lead up and build up to World War III, which is prophesied in the Bible. Now, as to see that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And we're seeing all these things. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. We're just in the beginning of this, man. So let's get Luke 21. Now let's get the 25th verse. Now it says, and there should be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars. And this is what we've been seeing a lot lately. I just saw in that video we played, that red tint to the sun, and as well as to the moon. That blood moon that took place a couple days ago, man. And now you're seeing this happening right after that. Once again, the Lord is showing us we're nearing the end, man. Now, there should be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nation with perplexity to see and the waves roaring. And wishing you have many people that's going to continue to go on with their so-called day-to-day life as if nothing is happening. Without a care in the world, man. While these things are playing out right in front of you. I should go back to that video one more time. Now, as we go right here, to stand inside, NYC is being shut down right now. It's going to get extremely toxic outside. I did warn you many months ago this was coming. Well, it's here and pre-orders and this and that. But main point is going to go to where he mentioned the chemicals.
This picture with my phone camera, but I have a huge camera lens, okay? A 500M. And basically, I want to show you guys, my battery's dying, but hopefully I can get, okay, so there's the first picture I took. So then I took the exposure out, okay? And you see this ring around the sun here? That's what you call chemicals, okay? That is not a normal color. That is not from just a wood fire. So I want you to think about things like this, okay? Wood fire, but everything that's in the ground, you have oil in the ground, you got gases in the ground, you got chemicals, you got metals in the ground. So everything that's burning, the ground is also burning along with that, which is causing that chemical to go up in the air. And guess what? What goes up will come down. And there are these little tiny particles, okay?
And once again, this is the work of Esau Edom, you know.
That you can't see.
He 100% has his hand in this to, you know, push what he wants. You know, wanting an order out of chaos. He causes all these problems, all these commotions in order to bring in the so-called solution. You know, to direct it the way he wants it.
You can only see these things through a microscope.
You know, to gain more control. And as you see right here, all the chemicals that's going to be, you know, in your body. Stuff may come out with a so-called solution to where you may need to take a certain something in order to fix that problem. You know, whatever the case may be, we'll see exactly how this plays out, because it may only pick up.
Okay? And there's little particles that are in the air right now that you're breathing. As long as you stay out there, those things are going into your lungs. And these kind of particles, guess what? They stick. They stick like glue to your lung cavities. They stick to your inside of your body. You need to be extremely careful right now. Do not go out.
But there you go. Just want to get that video one more time now. Let's get Habakkuk 2 and 3. Which probably should save it for the last. Let's actually save that for the last. Alright, now the second Ezra's 15:11-12, as I brought up earlier. But now it says, "But I'll bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. And Yahweh Shemashai is smiting this place with plagues and pestilence and these judgments." That we also just read earlier in the book of Ecclesiasticus. Isaiah 29:6, how the Lord is visiting this place with storm and tempest and devouring fire, man. Verse 12, "Even shall mourn, the foundation shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it." So Yahweh is judging this place, man. Now, 2 Ezra 16:38, "As when a woman with child in 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of birth, great pains compass her womb." Now, who's that baby about to be delivered? Israel. You know, those birth pains, you know, being those plagues, those pestilence, and, you know, all these things that Yahweh sent out upon this place. Now, read it from time to time. As when a woman with child in 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Meaning not letting up, so it's meaning it's constant, man. So we're seeing so many things happening, man. I mean, look, you know, once in a couple of days ago, the blood moon took place. Now you're seeing, you know, the smoke that's carrying over from the so-called wildfires that are taking place over there in Canada. You know, and a lot more things are going to happen. "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and the sorrows shall come upon it on every side." So there you go. Now let's get Isaiah 24:11. Now there's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. When you go into the word mirth, basically goes into enjoyment, happiness, merriness. Gladness, gaiety, mirthful. I'm just going to other words, but there's a cheeriness, gleefulness, merriment, glee, festivity, cheerfulness, and all that is ceasing. It's coming to an end. The Lord's putting a stop to it, man. Now, ultimately, a lot of these people are without the fear of Yahweh Bashim Shai, and guess what? A lot of you are going to learn the hard way. Excuse me, right here, 2 Ezra 15:49, and I was kind of bringing up earlier once again. Esau Edom most definitely has his hand in this, as scripture going to in 2 Corinthians 2:11. You know, how we're not ignorant of his devices, you know, as well as going back to other scriptures, Psalm 55, Psalm 58, going to how he is a natural born liar and how he's not to be trusted. You know, how his words were softened in oil, yet were they drawn swords, and also how he comes out the womb lion, man. So sure, he may use the wildfire as a forefront. And knowing Esau Edom, he's going to use this to his advantage in order to push his agenda and the things that he wants to do, as I briefly brought up earlier. Now, 2 Ezra 15:49. As I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy house with destruction and death. And you're seeing those plagues, those pestilence. You know, especially just that air quality can actually damage your body heavily, man. Your immune system. And these devils may also, be using that to their advantage. Once again, to push out a so-called solution, and sweep in as the so-called heroes to solve the problems that they ultimately started. We have to exactly see how this will play out and how this devil will use this to his advantage. Because as you saw in the video we got earlier in that comment, how it's going to affect the food and all that. So it's going to damage and cause a lot of problems. We over time, I was sending plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy house with destruction and death. Which I don't know if I read that yet, but let's go back to Isaiah 24:11. Now says, there is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is dark, and the mirth of the land is gone. The mirth is ceasing. It's coming to an end, man. Things aren't as normal as they once were, and ultimately things weren't never normal, man. With all the wickedness and confusion that went on in this place. And ultimately, Yahweh Shemel Shai is judging this place and the people that is in it. Now, to close out with Habakkuk 2 and 3. Like I said, I don't think it's a super long lesson, but, Lord was edifying either way. We want to get those videos, too, because it just goes to show that it obviously wasn't a normal wildfire. Especially with how many that took place and, lit up pretty much at the same time. And that video was played earlier, once again, going back to it, I keep bringing it up. How, like I mentioned, pretty much the ring around the sun, pretty much like, chemicals were surrounding it, man. With those chemicals that are in the sky. Now it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, by then shall speak and not lie. And we're in those appointed times. What is that vision speaking of? The NLT. Now it says, the vision is for a future time, dealing with these prophecies, man. And we are in those times. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but then shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it surely come, it will not tarry, meaning it will not delay. So these things will happen and will come to pass, and you best believe it, man. And things will only continue to pick up and get even worse from here on out. So I'll make this lesson to a spirit, but also I get the point across, make a quick lesson going into the Canada wildfires taking place, and also just the damage and the problems that it will for sure cause. Especially with the air quality being at its worst, the highest and the red, seeing these end time signs dealing with this, with the moon, the sun even. As you saw in a few videos how red it was, and that one guy mentioning also how there's been, chemicals around it. So once again, just going to show it's not a regular wildfire that just kicked off out of nowhere, but Lord was edifying. Long got the points out the way and put his point across. I do want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh by Shemel Shai, by Shem Kakadash, the bar the apostles, and else great millstone for teaching us his truth, peace, and blessings to the whole collective Israel. And Shalom, Sinas One.